Thanks so much, Joey. Time now for a check of our top stories. And the pandemic burnout is building, but as new cases nationwide, overall hospitalizations and deaths drop, cities and states around the country are updating their guidance on masking up. Only 3 states and Puerto Rico have yet to announce an end to mask mandates. But the CDC is not changing its mask guidance, not yet anyway. And top health experts say it's too soon to stop masking kids in schools, too.
It is really not prudent to pull masks off children. You could create a risk that you would see an increase in infections.
Now, the White House says it is planning to distribute high-quality masks to kids in the days to come. Well, meantime, another option to test for COVID-19 is being rolled out in Guyana. The Ministry of Health has approved the use of self-testing kits for COVID-19, but the results of the tests will not be accepted for travel. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, in his COVID update on Wednesday, revealed that people will be allowed to import or purchase the self-testing kits, which allow them to follow the instructions and test themselves for COVID-19. He said in the case of a positive test result, people should report those results to the Ministry of Health as they isolate themselves at home. And if they do develop symptoms, the health minister says they should seek medical attention.
Right now in Guyana, we're introducing that, and there are some people who would buy the kits and would follow the guidance, but it's not widespread, and therefore we don't see a big challenge. Now with self-testing, it's a way of just, if you have any concern, to check to see whether you're positive or negative. So first of all, I think not a lot of people would be doing it, and those who would be doing it, I think they would be responsible enough if they test positive to report it to our surveillance system. When that report is made, we will then determine whether we need to do a second test or not, but at that point, that determination would be made.
And in terms of international travel, the health minister warned that the self-tests will not be accepted for outgoing or incoming passengers to the country.
Self-testing is a concept that you have in different countries. Our travel requirements are very explicit. We are accepting an antigen test from a reputable institution where it's done, or a PCR test. There is something now called a rapid PCR, and we are also accepting that. Somebody having a home kit and doing a test at home does not necessarily qualify or meet the requirements for travel. No country right now is accepting anybody who has tested themselves at home for travel, and we are not changing our guidelines to accept that.
And switching gears now, since the beginning of this year, Puerto Rico has presented difficulties to supply the demand of eggs. Now, the greater demand for this product in recent weeks and the internal egg production is not enough to supply the Puerto Rican consumers. Our Francis Felix reports.
In the past weeks, Puerto Rico has suffered a seasonal egg shortage, where eggs are limited in the supermarkets. But what reasons could lead to supply this demand? An owner of a farm in Dorado assured that the high energy and animal feed costs could be the possible reasons. At the beginning of this year, the Department of Agriculture and the Farmers Association denounced a temporary shortage of eggs in stores. Ramon Gonzalez, Secretary of Agriculture, explained that the demand has increased in recent weeks while local production is not enough to supply the needs of the Puerto Rican consumer.
Basically, the production in Puerto Rico by the local producer is limited. The competition has been very harsh on the local producers. So right now the limitation actually is the product that is imported to Puerto Rico, because the local ones have been producing everything they can, and the reasons are the energy cost is huge in Puerto Rico, so it's very hard for the farmer here to compete with the prices of the product that come from the U.S. And the other thing is the feed. We don't produce our feeds here in Puerto Rico. They are produced in the U.S. and they get imported to Puerto Rico, and that's a very high cost, I mean, in the total production.
What solutions or strategies are you implementing in La Finca El Pastoreo?
Our strategy, of course, is increased production. I mean, right now we're trying to get more hens to produce more eggs. We have been getting a lot of support. Our niche is smaller than the regular producer in Puerto Rico, of course, because we have a product that is pasture raised. We raise the hens outside in the grass, and well, that kind of limit the quantity that we can do. However, it's a product that a lot of people also want in Puerto Rico, and the support has been amazing, and we're increasing the production.
La Finca El Pastoreo, in addition to producing fresh eggs from the country, its laying hens are in constant movement, therefore the title of grazing. The farm animals are only fed with natural food, grass, and grains.
All the animals are in pasture, but we keep them in fresh pasture, and we do that by rotating them. We constantly move them to new grass. We call it a fresh salad bar, and that increases their ingestion, or their consumption of all the plants that are there in the ground. Plus, I mean, they get access to insects. They get access to what they were created for. I mean, what nature intended them to do, which is to go outside and kind of harvest, I mean, everything that is out there available for them. We give them a special feed also that we don't use any chemicals. So, for example, we use oregano as a natural antibiotic, or essential oils to keep them healthy in their feed. And the main difference is the nutrition. The nutrition is very diverse, so it makes a nutritionally dense product.
Padra is optimistic with the agricultural industry, with young farmers joining the field, also with the hope of producing more of what is being produced and the help of government incentives. From Dorado, Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.
In the meantime, the head of the Federal Aviation Administration is resigning. Steve Dickson announced Wednesday that he is stepping down March 31st. He's been in the role since August of 2019 after being nominated by former President Donald Trump. Dickson says he's leaving to spend more time with his family. Transportation Security Pete Buttigieg is thanking him for his service. The FAA says it will work with the White House to find Dickson's replacement. Well, still to come here on One Caribbean News, more than ever, parents are talking with their kids about money. Coming up, we'll have some advice from the experts about how to have these conversations and when. Stay with us. And still to come here on One Caribbean News, we'll have how and when is the best time to talk to your children about money. That story and more 2 minutes away. And still to come here, oops. Welcome back to One Caribbean News. Well, a survey from T. Rowe Price finds 47% of parents spoke to their kids about money at least once a week last year. Now that's up from 35% in 2017. Naomi Rochum takes a look at how and when to start having these important conversations.
This is what's inside my wallet.
Second grader Gavin upgraded his piggy bank to a new Sonic the Hedgehog wallet, and his mom is helping him better understand what it means to save money.
Would you rather have 2 candy bars right now or $100 tomorrow?
$100.
Gavin is 7, the age when money habits start to form, according to CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
You also want to give up the concept of free versus what something costs, right? It's free to go play with your friend. It costs money to go buy a toy.
She also suggests parents who give an allowance separate it from chores.
Your kids should just do their chores. They're part of your household. I think an allowance should be based on something that you say to your kids, hey, you know what? I would buy you these things. They are frivolous things. They're fun things. And I'm going to give you the money to make those choices.
In the teen years, Schlesinger says money conversations should be about college costs and saving for it, along with understanding credit cards and debt. Young adults should focus on budgeting, student loan repayment, and monitoring their credit score every year.
You can spend this amount of money and that's your budget.
10-year-old Lucy is already thinking about college.
Isn't like some colleges like kind of like less money, like, and then maybe like a really good college would be like $1 million.
She likely won't need $1 million, but Lucy says her parents want her to start saving now.
And as more businesses call employees back to the workplace, most staffers say they would prefer to keep working remotely. According to a new survey by Pew Research, some 60% of those asked want to keep working from home all or most of the time. Some said they still fear being exposed to COVID, but 3 out of 4 just prefer working from home. 64% of those surveyed said remote work has improved their work-life balance. About 1/3 cited childcare as an issue in returning to the office. And for about 17%, geography plays a major role, indicating that some have relocated away from their job site over the past 2 years.